So now we're starting another video for the digestive system, and then in true fashion, you see this one is covering like this. So what is the greater omentum? Yes, like an apron attached to the greater curvature of the stomach. Oh, this is really great omentum for sure. You see, and then the lesser curvature of the stomach is attached. This will be the lesser omentum. You see what I'm saying, my good friends? So lesser omentum is attached to the lesser curvature, and the lesser omentum, like we did in the lecture, it attaches a bit of the duodenum and the lesser curvature to the liver. Okay? You see what I'm saying? And then for the stomach, I am not going to ask you to identify the organ. I'm going to ask you to identify the regions of the organ. Do you see what I'm saying, my good friends? Because to keep it interesting for you guys. You know what I mean? So what is this bulge on the top here? You see what I'm saying? You see this bulge here? What is this region called of this organ? That's how I'll ask it. What is this region of this organ? So that will be starts with an F. It's labeled over there. Looking back on there. The fundus, yeah, the fundus. Or the fundus, if you like. Fundus, I like to pronounce it like the Latin way with the FU. I'm sorry. It just came out like that, okay? But it's FU. You know, it's FUND. So FU is fundus. You can say fundus, but put a U on there. You understand? I mean,
that's how we remember. Don't worry.
That's how you remember it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And then the rest of it is gonna be called the.
It's called PLY.
Oh, well, the rest of the region of the stomach, the greater part of the stomach is the. So anyway, kind of in the middle is the body. That's the body. Yeah, that's the body. Do you see on the label over there? Okay. And then the body will start to taper, and then it forms the pyloric antrum. Then it tapers even more to form the pyloric canal. Both of those regions, so if I put a pin over here, you just say pylorus or pyloric region. You see what I'm saying? I don't need you to demarcate between the pyloric antrum and the pyloric canal.
Okay, that's good.
Do you understand? So pylorus is my word over there. It's boxed in blue. Or you could say pyloric region, whichever floats your boat. You understand? Pylorus is so much easier. It's just one word, and it's a little itty-bitty word. You just have to spell it pylorus. Isn't that cool? Yeah, yeah. So, my good friends, so for this, and then over here, you know, I may not even need to point to it. I'll be like, what's the structure that regulates gastric filling? And it's close to the heart, right? And so it's called the cardiac sphincter. Yeah, cardiac sphincter. Cardiac sphincter. Or lower esophageal sphincter. You understand? So I'll just say what's that structure that regulates gastric filling, and then you say cardiac sphincter, lower esophageal sphincter if you like, and then I could say what innervates the diaphragm, and then you say phrenic nerve. I don't even need to point to it, correct? Because the answer is self-explanatory. You see what I'm saying? And over here, by the pyloric region, pylorus, right, which is really by the pyloric canal, okay, I'll be like, what regulates gastric emptying? Then you say pyloric sphincter. Pyloric sphincter. Do you see, my good friends? So pyloric sphincter regulates gastric emptying. Isn't that cool, my good friends? All right. And then for the liver, I am not going to ask you to identify that organ. The only organ I'm going to ask you to identify, well, there's three organs I'm going to ask you to identify. One is this, which is the gallbladder. And two is this, which is the the diaphragm, well, the duodenum, which is the first part of the small intestine, cups this organ, and then this is the organ that cups that organ on the left side, and this one is the spleen, and the spleen filters whole blood and is part of the lymphatic system. You understand? But we do it here with the digestive, because it's right close to the digestive parts, so we can't ignore it. You know what I'm saying? Because that would be bad. Okay, but we know that this is the lymphatic system organ that filters whole blood. You understand? So that's the spleen. Okay, my good friends. And then we open the apron like this. Oh my God, they really infused this. The apron, which is the greater momentum, by the way. So, and the other organ I'm going to ask about would be this. So the question would be like, what's that organ? You see, that goes from here, all this pancreas. And pancreas is capped, like I was saying, by the first part of the small intestine, which is the duodenum, and then on the left side by the spleen. You see what I'm saying? And you can see the tail of the pancreas and up against the spleen. Do you see that, my good friends? So those are the three organs I'm going to ask about. One, the spleen, which is the lymphatic system. Two, the pancreas, all the way down here is pancreas, okay? And then obviously the gallbladder. Those are the three organs. The rest of the time, I'll be asking you to identify the lobes of the liver and the regions of the stomach. I'm never going to ask you to identify the stomach as an organ or the liver as an organ. You understand?
Is our gallbladder like that?
Our gallbladder, yeah, it's also on the right quadrant. Remember the right, if you look over there on the human, it's in the right lobe, but it really splits another square-like portion, which is the quadrant lobe. But really the quadrant lobe is part of the right lobe. And then the caudate lobe, which is down there, separated by the inferior vena cava, is also a region of, strictly speaking, of the right lobe. You understand? So it is to answer your question, the same thing. Okay. So like I said, the only organs I'll ask is the gallbladder, the spleen, and the pancreas. You understand? Okay. So now we need to do the lobes of the liver. Okay. What is this one?
So the
Lateral. Yeah. Left lateral lobe. Okay. And then this one, the right lateral. Is the right median. The lateral lobe on the right, because the liver is really on the right side. You really have to plow it right onto to see it. So you really see the right, and the right median lobe is the largest. So you see that. So I went from this to that by deliberately, so that to keep you switched on. So there's the left lateral lobe, and this is the right median lobe. The right median lobe will include this, the gallbladder. You see what I'm saying? So if I'm pointing here, I'll be asking for the lobe. I'll be saying, what is that lobe of that organ? And then you have to say, don't say liver, say right median lobe, right? Okay. And then what about this? Left median lobe. The left median lobe is actually smaller than than it appears, like the left lateral lobe. You know what I'm saying? But the left lobe is really small, just like in the human. You see what I'm saying? So the left median lobe, left lateral lobe, right median lobe, and then caudate lobe. That's 4, right? We need the 5th. So we have to plow it down. Right on the right side, it's all the way down there, and you can see these two would be the right lateral lobe. Do you see what I'm saying? These two, this and that, the right lateral lobe, and you could see the renal flexure here. You see, to accommodate the kidney. Do you see what I'm saying, my good friends? So the right lateral lobe, you have to really go down. It's really, really lateral, not like the left lateral lobe, which is over here. You see what I'm saying? The right is going to be over here, and it's all sorts of. It's got 2 divisions even. You see what I'm saying? All this is right lateral lobe.
So it's inferior.
It's not inferior. It's inferior in terms of in relation to other lobes, but it's really on the right side. See, because the liver is like on the right side, it looks like it's in the middle here, but because the skin is, the cat is narrow. You see what I'm saying? So it looks like it's in the middle, but it's not. It's really on the right side. This is why you have to go all the way to what's love got to do with it to go and see the right lateral lobe. You see what I'm saying? So right lateral lobe, right median lobe, left median lobe, left lateral lobe, caudate lobe, and you're done for the liver, for the cat. Okay, and then we go to the first part of the small intestine, and I will always have it close to this, which is the pancreas, right? That we just identified. So I'll be like, what is that part of the GIT? Then you know to say duodenum. And then usually I put the label for the pancreas right next to it. So make sure you're entering the duodenum for the GIT part and pancreas for the organ question. Because sometimes you flip them, you know the organ, the pancreas, and you know the duodenum, but you put the answer for the pancreas in the duodenum blank, and you get it wrong. You see, so you don't want to do that. You want to make sure you're getting all your points. So be careful about that, okay? And like I said, the question describes what I'm looking for. If I'm looking for a part of the GIT, then you know it's going to be either part of the large intestine, part of the small intestine, right? If I'm looking for an organ, I told you there's only 3 organs I'm going to ask you to identify: the gallbladder, the spleen, and the pancreas. So you know that if I say organ, you know one of your answers is going to be one of those. You understand? So I'm just letting you know so that you know you have a strategy for the exam to score maximum points. Okay? So the duodenum, I will always have it close to the stomach, number 1, or close to the pancreas, number 2. Close to the pancreas is better because then you get to see this white nodular
Is it like
structure.
fused, or is that just
No, they're just next to each other. They're connected by connective tissue. They're just next to each other. Yeah. But this is a complete entity, and that's a complete organ, because the pancreas is doing its own thing, right? It's got the acini with the juices and the alkaline juices and the enzymes, enzymatic secretions, and then the Langerhans or pancreatic islets for the hormones. You see what I'm saying? Okay, so this is the duodenum, and then the duodenojejunal flexure, you won't be able to see it, but anywhere in the middle I point, you will be able to say jejunal. Okay, and then I always forget last time, this would be mesentery. That's what we called mesentery proper in the, you see what I'm saying? This mesentery proper, and you could see the yellow tagged portal system veins. Okay, the portal system veins are draining digestive organs and depositing the blood into the liver first before it goes back through the renal vein into the inferior vena cava to go back to the heart. Okay, because it's a conditioning organ. It will, change some amino acids to other amino acids for some of them, or change nutrients, or store glucose and stuff, and filter and so forth, and create plasma proteins and whatnot. So there's mesentery, okay, and then the last or the terminal part of the small intestine, I will make it close to the large intestine. That way, even though the ileum is the longest part of the small intestine, you won't be able to see the junction between the jejunum and the ileum. But to make a point, I will always make it close to this. You see how fat this is? See how this is the large intestine, and then I point to this and I'm like, what is that? And then you say ileum. You understand? Ileum. And then this is the ileocecal junction, because the first part of the large intestine is the cecum, which is this. See this little indented part like that? So that's the cecum. And the cat, as you can see, does not have an appendix. You see what I'm saying? The vermiform appendix. It doesn't have it. And 2, it doesn't have the rostra. It's smooth. It's just large in diameter. You understand? Okay? So the first part will be, so this, if I point to here, and I'm like, what is that? You say cecum. Okay? And then if I point to here, what is this part of the GIT?
That's the duodenum.
The first part of the is going up, right? Of the material. Once it goes through here, it's going to go up here. So this will be the, starts with an A, right? And it's going up.
Oh,
Ascending colon. This is the ascending colon. Why? Because it's on the right side. It's on the right quadrant. Do you see what I'm saying? Because this is going like this, and this is also going like that. So which is which? How do you know? Well, because of this. You see what I'm saying? And because it's close to the ileum. Because the ileum is the small part of the small intestine, is the part of the small intestine, right? And the small intestine leads into the large intestine. So this is the first part, starting with the cecum of the large intestine. And so this is the ascending colon being, and then this one, it's like an inverted U. This part here in the middle would be the Oh, it's going to be the one going across. The one going across from the at the transverse colon. So I should have labeled over there the hepatic flexure or the right colic flexure, which is a 90-degree turn in the human colon, right? And also in here in the cat colon, because the liver is right there, so it has to take a turn to the other side. You see what I'm saying? So this is the transverse colon, and then this one going down here would be the descending. This one was about to defecate because there was a lot of material in there, and it was about, and then they killed it. Anyway, but this is the descending. I mean, they didn't wait for it to go. Okay, so yeah, so this will be the descending colon, and then all the material is, because if did you see the other one, cat? It's flat. It is all empty. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying because yours is like that. We just don't have time to go pick it up and show you. But yeah, so this will be the rectum. So the rectum collects all the. There's no sigmoid colon, as you can see. It's just the descending colon, then the rectum, the anal canal outside.
For humans, when they have to cut their intestine and put that bag, where do they usually do that?
To cut the intestine?
Like, you know, when they put that bag, I forgot what it's called. Stoma, yeah. Where is that usually placed?
It depends on where it's going and what the purpose of it is, whether it's going into the small intestine or large intestine. Or you mean the bag that will collect feces because somebody can't void or something?
Yeah, the stoma.
Yeah. So they'll probably put it, normally the rectum is the one that stores the feces before voiding. When the rectum is sufficiently filled up with feces, right, then you get the defecation reflex to go. So sometimes people have that messed up, so I guess they would
You don't really get that
put it.
signal of when to go.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, and they can't void the feces. Maybe something's wrong with the rectum. I don't know. So it just depends on where the problem is, where you can strategically place it. Where there's lack of function, you need to put that cannula or whatever above that functionless place. You know what I'm saying? So it just depends what's happening and what the reason for it is. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Okay, my good friends. Yeah. So you become incontinent when you get older. It's like you become a baby again. You have to wear diapers again. Okay, my good friends. So that's the end of it, the rectum and then the anal canal. So switch it off.